Hi, everybody. Mike Handcock here, the chairman of the Circle of Excellence Group. And today we're going to be discussing centers of influence. Coming from the Circle of Excellence, centers of influence are pretty important things, right? So, what is a center of influence? A center of influence is somebody who can open doors for you or lead you into marketplaces that may have been unavailable to you before. And the funny thing that I notice in my journey through entrepreneurship is that, we've maybe about 20 people on the call today live, is that I can't speak for those of you at home watching this later on. For those of you on the call, if you actually go and look and make a list of the top 100 people you know, then you're probably going to look at that and go, there are so many potential centers of influence in this list. Why am I busy running Facebook ads or trying to do something or cold calling or anything like that when, in fact, I can just literally go to my top 100 list and look at who's here and have some meetings with them and ask them to open some doors for me. So a center of influence is somebody who has that ability to literally open doors, but they come in many different shapes and sizes. So I'm anticipating today that I'm going to involve a number of people on this call. Hi to Diane, who's just joined us, as well as Sam. But I'm going to involve some of you on this call to actually break down what you think circle of centers of influence are. And from there, also, we're going to have a look at some of the material that I've got coming forward for you as well. But for now, we are going to do our screen share and we are going to be underway. Here we go. So a center of influence. I first came across this term actually when I was working in financial services. And I came across it through somebody who worked for me at the time, and they were a financial planner, salesperson in financial planning. And they had a center of influence who was a secretary who worked for the New Zealand Chartered Accountants Society. So that person knew all of the top chartered accountants in the country. What does a financial planner need? They need chartered accountants. So centers of influence come in the most unlikely shapes, sizes, and job roles. In fact, ladies, one of your best centers of influence could be your hairdresser. For Landi, probably her nail lady is an amazing center of influence. There's not a thing that she doesn't know that's going on. Where we live, there's a common joke in the area. Chris will understand this because, his office is in the same area. But the Waffle House and Peter and his wife, who own the Waffle House, are the biggest centers of influence in our area. Nothing goes on in our area that doesn't be known at the Waffle House, and nothing goes on that probably there hasn't been a meeting at the Waffle House. In fact, I was walking past there the other day. I'd just been to get some documents printed, and I walked past, and in the Waffle House was my solicitor and two other people. So I walked in and said hello to Paul. He introduced me to two other people, and they were pretty high-profile people. So isn't it amazing what can happen in just something as simple as a cafe, a bar, a restaurant, or something, a nail bar, a hairdresser? I don't need those. But that's where these centers of influence can often pop up. So a center of influence doesn't necessarily have to be a high-profile international business person or anything like that. So let's jump into this. Centers of influence could be clients. They could be suppliers. They could be old connections, or they could be somebody in your community. So some clients make great centers of influence. They love you. They know exactly what you do because they've experienced it. They can open doors for you. They're happy to. You don't compete with them in any sort of way whatsoever. So the clients are always very good. but suppliers are always excellent as well. And I made a note here for myself on the little picture there, but I want to tell you this story. It's a New Zealand-based story. Base 7 and Build 7 are two companies owned by the same individual who I've known for 30 years. And when he started Build 7, which is a building company, he literally went out to the major supplier for Base 7, which is a flooring company, and said, guys, I'm starting a building arm of this. We're going to be using flooring in all of the houses, but I need franchisees. And you have a footprint around the country. The franchises are $185,000 to start with, and I need you to bring me people who should buy those. They introduced 18 of 23 franchises that he had. So that center of influence was worth, let me do the math here, somewhere around over $3 million. One center of influence that's a supplier. So don't think that you don't have suppliers. You know, even if you're in small business, we're in the service industry, you have accountants, you have solicitors, you have insurance agents, you have other people, you have SaaS products, you have all of that sort of stuff can be great centers of influence. Then there's old connections from school, from sport, from your previous job, from family, extended family, those types of things. And then, of course, there's people in your community, the waffle shop down the road from us, your accountant, your mayor, somebody who's working as a journalist in a local paper, the local priest or imam or something like that, somebody who's involved in your kids' school. They're often fantastic centers of influence because they know what's going on around you. And the purpose of our call today, and the reason why I chose this topic to share with you, is because sometimes I think we just walk outside of our area too much. And we're looking at the globe and we're going, how can we get the next client? And we're busy posting on Facebook or, you know, writing blogs and everything like that. Whereas 2 or 3 meetings with some people just who you've had around you for a while can open up so many doors for you. I know when I worked in financial services, and I was a financial services sales manager for some time, around about 5 years, I guess, I had everybody who worked for me focusing on building centers of influence. Now, a center of influence may not necessarily be a direct referrer, but they open doors for you. So let me give you an example to that. An accountant may be not prepared to open his or her clients to you, but they may be able to introduce you to other people in the industry or to insurance agents or financial planners who are very prepared to open their doors to you. So they may be able to introduce you to mortgage brokers and things like that who are able to open their doors to you. So you've got to think very laterally about this. Often a center of influence comes in a very different shape and size. I know, Patrick, I've got you on the call today, and I remember you telling me this story, but when we had a New Zealand-based events company, we used to run large-scale events, and we'd run them for multiple speakers. If you're in South Africa, you probably know Robin Banks. So Robin was one of our regular speakers. Of course, Mike was one of our regular speakers. Glenn Levy was one of our regular speakers. And the fourth one was Don Tolman. And Don Tolman speaks about health and well-being. Our centers of influence that used to fill our Don Tolman events were organic grocery shops. Christchurch, Wellington, Auckland. They were the only 3 centers. Don flew in from America. And normally in Auckland, we'd have 600 to 1,000 people at the event. In Christchurch, 200 to 400, and in Wellington, 400 to 600 people. Organic food shops were the centers of influence because they actually had customers that were interested in whole foods and natural healing. So this is the type of thing that I really want to tell you today and really want to get you thinking. And maybe before we even go on, let's go to the chat and let's hear from you guys about who you think already, just by me saying that, has popped up for you as potentially a center of influence that you haven't thought of yet. Let's see if anybody's got any. Okay. Andrea says the local hairdresser in your area. Sam says Mike Handcock. Thanks. Andrea says a local hairdresser, and he's the mayor. So your local hairdresser is the mayor of Wollongabba, right? And Gavin, you say insurance brokers for cyber security. Okay. So let's just dig into this a little bit. Andrea, I just want to ask you a question. So tell me a little bit about your local mayor, the hairdresser.
Hi, Mike. He has been in the same area for 20 years. We lovingly call him the mayor of Wollongabba.
Right. So that's not
Because
actually his job, but he knows
no, no,
everybody, right? Yeah.
but everybody knows him, and he knows everybody. He knows everything that's going on in a 10-kilometer radius of Wollongabba. Nothing happens without him knowing about it, whether it's something's happened down at the local fish and chip shop, or there's a new business that's opened, or a business that's gone bust, or he knows everything. Like, he knows more than the media does.
Fantastic. Hi, Angela. Welcome to you. Let's see. Diane says BX Networking Reimagined, Library and Community Events, Sahaja, the guy who owns the local car wash, and Brian Dealey. That's fantastic. Okay. A whole bunch, Moira. Lovely to have you on the call. Insurance brokers, Gavin. Definitely, I think, in your business, if you're not courting, insurance brokers, it's very easy with them. They like lunches and golf, right? And anything to do with rugby, right? That doesn't change much, particularly in South Africa. So anything you can do to bring that together and then to pitch them on that is just a fantastic idea. Thanks, Andrea. That was really great feedback that you had there. So I really do appreciate that. And let's just quickly find the presentation again amidst all the myriad of things that I do here. Here we go. Sharing again. Back to our presentation. So I think already you're starting to think of this a little bit differently. You're not thinking of this as somebody who necessarily is a direct referrer, but can introduce and open doors for you. So, oops, back here. Problem with my slides today and my quick fingers. So what sort of relationships can you have with this center of influence? Well, I think the top relationship is that they become quite a strategic alliance for you. And you can open that door and you can start that sort of non-officially, and then you can make that quite official. Now, a strategic alliance, to make it official, doesn't necessarily mean you need a contract or anything like that. It means that you're calling on them regularly. It means that you're maybe wining and dining them. It means that you're interested in their friends, family, and goings on. It means that you're building a solid relationship with them, just as you would with your best client. But they could also be an ambassador as well. So a center of influence could simply be somebody who you tell, because they're so influential, and you start to educate them on what you do, and you get them excited about what you do. And because they're excited, just in their natural course of, being the social secretary of the region, like the mayor, they're the hairdresser, then they will start talking about you, particularly if you've got interesting stuff going on. Sam's building a new hospital. Andrea's about to head overseas again for the third time this year. And Dealey's just started a new business and managed to do this and that and the other thing. Those type of people, they'll love to chatter and they'll love to talk about you. So give them reasons to talk. And again, this is about building relationships. So this is not something where you just go and see them once. This is something where you build relationships with somebody who is in the community, who has relationships, who wants to talk about people, give them stuff to talk about. Now, I drew a line under this because there are also three other things that you can do with a center of influence. You can make them an affiliate, which literally means that they might earn some extra income out of it. Now, if they're in a relatively a job where there's a ceiling on it or something like that. Maybe they're a hairdresser, maybe doesn't own the salon, Andrea, but they definitely could be something whereby if they introduce a client to you, there could be something coming their way, whether it's a bottle of whiskey, a good night out, or actually cash in the bank. That could be definitely the case. They could be a JV partner. So they could be somebody who you bring in and start to do some joint ventures with. So, you know, Gavin, you might have just as many potential clients for the insurance broker as the insurance broker has for you. So that could be a joint seminar that you start to run. In fact, you could run joint seminars with a number of different insurance brokers. In fact, you could involve somebody else who can also bring audience. And so you could have an insurance broker, you could have yourself doing cybersecurity, and you could have some type of speaker who works, or business coach who works with entrepreneurs, that opens up that whole audience there. That three-way event could be a really, really nice way to start to do something on a joint venture basis. And then you could simply have somebody who's a champion. Now, you might ask, what's the difference between a champion and an ambassador? A champion is somebody who literally loves you, right? They just think that you are the best thing ever. An ambassador is somebody you've sort of coached into the position of saying that you are great. So if you think about it, you know, think about a regional ambassador for a country even, they're in a job. They are there to, you know, hold that company up high in the other country, or hold that country up high whilst they're based in another country, and do some negotiations on behalf of it. Whereas a champion is literally somebody who's just raving about you. So these are the different types of relationships that you can have. I see a couple of people in the chat here, so let me just go to that. Rauda, thank you. Interesting and important topic. Thanks for bringing it up. Mel and I had a conversation about referrals last week. Well, referrals are the result of centers of influence. So I don't think that referrals, you need a strategy for referrals. We've got plenty of material on that. It's in the Circle of Excellence course. We've done it on a previous webinar. So you can go back and look at those if you're in any of our environments and have a look at that. But this is particularly about grooming people who can open doors. Imagine if you had 10 centers of influence who are all influential to potentially 30 to 40 other relationships that you could have. That could mean 300 to 400 relationships, which could then lead to literally thousands of referrals. That's what we're really talking about here. So what you have to do, and I know that some of you have been through this 1,000 times, but you have to involve the money train. The money train is how you work with somebody who is a center of influence. So that means you have to know, firstly, who do you want? So you have to know what's the particular clients that you want, and who has those clients coming across their doorstep fairly regularly, or would know people who has those clients coming across their doorstep. Now you might go, oh, that's too far removed, Mike, but there's the law of 3 steps removed. And the law of 3 steps removed goes like this. Your wealth is not created by the first person you meet. It's not even created by who they introduce you to. It's created by who that person introduces you to. And if you look back at your life and where you've created great things, often you'll find that the law of 3 steps removed is pretty much right. I know even with what I do now, even with Circle of Excellence actually comes from the law of 3 steps removed. And how it worked was that I know Lisa, and Lisa told me, do you want to come to this event? And I said, what's it about? She said, I really have no idea. I said, it sounds fantastic. Let's go. So we went to this event 20 years ago. And at that event, I met the speaker. And that speaker, I got to know him very, very well. And he introduced me to a person that was my original business partner in what is now the Circle of Excellence. So the law of 3 steps removed. So the lead carriage, you need to understand who is a center of influence that can introduce you to places that particularly have your leads. So that would be the first step. Then you have to build trust with that center of influence. They have to trust you. Now, you may know this person reasonably well, but it doesn't mean to say they'll open doors for you yet. So you have to build that trust with them. How do you do that? The same way you build trust with your clients. Sampling could be a good way, showing them other testimonials that you've got, talking to them about what's going on next, involving them in your business, getting them to be part of a focus group. They're all good trust building strategies. You have to then get them to fall in love with you. So they have to see that what you do is unique, it's special, it's unusual, it has novelty, it's cool, it's that you're good at it, that you actually do great things in a marketplace where other people don't. It's all of those things that make clients and centers of influence fall in love with you. And only then can you move into the sales carriage, which is saying, hey, listen, will you open some doors for me? So with that, then you've got to take them on a journey. And that means that once they've opened those doors, this is a person that you can work with going on for years and years and years and years and years. And strangely enough, for me, one of the best ways to get centers of influence to work with you for years and years and years is to literally get them involved in your business. What does that mean? Well, it means that you maybe use them as an advisor. Those of you that are Circle of Excellence members, when I go through the Circle of Excellence pitch with you, when I'm pitching you at the first call there, I always go through our board of directors. Guess what? Each and every one of those people are centers of influence. So they've made it to our board, but we have other boards for other companies as well. So there's a couple of other people there that I don't mention because it just becomes too many. Then there are people that we've involved in focus groups. There are people that every time we're in a country, we have dinner with, even though, they're not directly involved in our business and things like that. Maybe they're people who are involved in part of our business. Maybe they do something for us. Maybe they're a contractor in some way or something like that. Or maybe we have some other type of relationship with them. You have to take these people on a journey. Don't make the mistake of thinking that people are not interested in what you do. People are very, very interested in what you do. So some of the trust strategies that you've got for them, as I said, sampling. So bring them along to an event, let them sit in, show them a video about what you do, show them your explainer videos, testimonials, talk to them about what people are saying, ask them to write a testimonial for you. I've had some great testimonials go up on LinkedIn in the last couple of weeks. If anybody wants to write one, that would be fantastic. Here's a third thing. Refer people to them. Start the reciprocal nature, the law of reciprocity. I can never say that word. Start referring to them. Gavin, if you wanted to work with insurance brokers, maybe set up something where they can, dig into your clients and things like that as well. Lift them up. Naturally be a coach, a confidant for them. People go through strange and tough times. So be involved there to lift them up and then involve them in what you're doing. Those are the types of trust strategies that you should use. Then what are some of the love strategies that you use? Well, again, sampling. Sampling is a great love strategy. Testimonials is a great love strategy. Referring to them is great love strategies. Lifting them up is great love strategies. Involving them are also great love strategies. You want them to literally fall in love with you. But I'm interested, again, I want to stop the share here, and I'm interested to go back to our group, and I want to ask you, do any of you have a particular trust strategy or love strategy that's working for you at the moment that you'd like to share that you think people could benefit from? Do not be shy. May the force be with you. Okay, Diane, I see your hand up. Isn't it great? It's like school again. Go, Diane.
I think one of the things that I find is very good for trust and also for love. I do this with my contacts in speaker bureaus, and I have a list of all the various consultants, et cetera, and I just ring them up. And I know they're busy, but I ring them up and I just say, hi, how's things? I'm not ringing up for anything. I'm just checking in to see how you're going. I know you're probably under the pump and you have to meet KPIs. Is there anything I can do to help? Or if you just want to sit there and download to me for a few minutes, I'm more than happy to listen. And I just leave it at that. And
Fantastic.
then sometimes I'll cry and go, I can't take it anymore. And I get a chance to do what I do. And other times I'll go, oh, look, I'm too busy at the moment. And the most important thing I've found is that you just don't take it personally. People are busy and you just say, hi, here I am. Can I help you in any way?
Yeah, that very much works. There's no doubt about that. And, you know, I have to say, and I've said this to you personally before, but I'll say it on the call here. My good friend Alison Mooney from Auckland, New Zealand, has probably built most of her business with muffins. Just driving past and dropping in with muffins and saying, hi, everybody, just driving past, was thinking of you guys, here's some muffins. Then they have a chat for 10 minutes and she's out of there. But I'll tell you what, at 73, she hardly has a week where she hasn't got work booked through muffins. So don't underestimate a muffin. They are really, really useful.
I took that on board, Mike, and I'm thinking of actually booking a flight and flying down to Sydney in November, December, because I make a Christmas cake from a 50-year-old recipe. And I'm thinking what I might do is make a whole range of individual little Christmas cakes and just turn up at all the different agents that are based in Sydney. Some are in Melbourne. It's a bit hard here because you've got to go everywhere. But just grab a flight and go down and do the Christmas cake gift, and then jump.
What a fantastic idea.
And then it's
somehow
personal.
Now I wish I ran an agency.
Anyway, I'm thinking I might do that.
That's great. I think it's a fantastic idea. Anybody else got any trust or love strategies? Joni, I see your hand.
Yeah, I'm only just realizing it is a trust strategy. So one of the people at USB, I heard she was going through a tough time, and I contacted her and I said, would you like to do the Enneagram to kind of look at self-management techniques? And I'll give you a fun way of looking at that and debriefing. And it's quite amazing how that has built beautiful trust. And now if something's happening, she WhatsApps me. It's not just an email. So it came out of a genuine care offering, but I'm now joining the dots, thinking actually it's turned into trust, and there's a lot of banter, and it's been really lovely. But I never thought of it. It wasn't an active thing. It was just a natural thing for me to do.
Yeah, and sometimes it is these natural things that are really great, and you know, it's a small thing for you to do. You don't think about it. You just go, oh, I'll help this person, but it's a huge thing for them, and and that's really important. Anyone else before we jump back in? Hi, Patrick. Go for it.
Hi. So Angela and I are actually in the process of finalizing our blueprint for the new business that we're launching. Part of that, of course, is we've had some interesting debates around the focus group, and we've probably got more potential invitees than we really need. But one of the ones that has been particularly notable, and it's a contact that Angela had, was with the University of Waikato. A professor in their business department gave me some pretty interesting advice about 12 months ago, and said, you've got something in this business here, but you're just not articulating it properly. So we pulled the focus group, and he was the first guy to accept, and is very, very keen. We've had a couple of other conversations with him, but you know, he's put us in contact with a couple of other department people there to, you know, engage with some of the students coming through their MBA program and so on. So yeah, it's been quite organic, but he sort of engaged them on a very, you know, personal level.
Very good. Yep. Very, very good. Thank you for that. Okay, we'll get some more comments a little bit later on. Let's jump back into this. No, those of you that are listening, we haven't disappeared. We're just waiting for our slideshows to come up. So moving right along after love strategies, I want to share with you a technique that I think that you should use if you really want to do this seriously. So This is something that I learned many, many years ago, and I think it's a fantastic idea. And I've just illustrated it very simply here. First, step one is you create a spreadsheet of the top 100 people you know. And you think about the top 100 in terms of their span of influence, just generally. So your hairdresser would definitely be on there, Andrea, for example. Maybe Patrick, the professor, would definitely be on there. Then you go and take their name. Once you've got your spreadsheet, Bill Smith is this person's name, and you start to basically draw a flow chart or a bit of a mind map around Bill. Now, Bill, in this case, Bill has clients. Bill is very involved in the alumni of his university, and Bill is also a patron and on the committee of a local sports club. So you need to start thinking about what is Bill's reach. Now, the funny thing is, as you go through these 100, you'll realize two things. You'll realize you probably know quite a lot about these people, a lot more than what you thought. And the other thing you realize is that you can never know enough about these people and what they do. So making 100 calls, having 100 coffee dates in the next 12 months with these people, 2 a week, and then getting to know them better, and then getting inside their heads and seeing which ones could potentially be a center of influence is a really good idea. Because if you look at, take any one of us, I'll take myself, for instance, okay? So I'm a musician, so I know a lot of musicians. I'm a speaker. I know a lot of speakers. I'm involved in 2 charities, so I know a lot of charities. I have a lot of clients. I have a large network. I'm a member of the South African Board Institute of Directors. I'm a member of a private club. So by the time you start building this picture around Mike, you start going, actually, I always think of Mike as somebody who works with entrepreneurs, but in fact, he has this and this and this and this angle to him as well. And so you may realize that some of the people that you've been maybe walking over in the past, once you dig into them, are some of the best potential people that you've got in your network. So I would really suggest to you that an exercise that you could do that comes out of our call today is to create your Project 100, your list of 100 influential people, the top 100 influential people that you know. And remember that based on what Facebook came out and said about 4 years ago, that the average person has 350 friends on Facebook. I would think it's thousands, but I mean, that's what they said. So if you look at that 100 by 350, what's that? Is it 350,000 people? So, that's a lot of people. So I don't know how many potential clients you need, but this span of influence can really help you. And so many times we sit there and we go, we don't know how to market and we don't know where to go next or anything like that, but it's actually sitting right in front of you, and you did the work when you were 17 years old by building a relationship. Then what do these people want? Well, funnily enough, a lot of them want some kudos, and I mean recognition. So recognition can come in the form of sending them a gift card, ringing them on their birthday, simply thanking them, maybe taking them out for dinner, sending them a bottle of scotch or whatever they like, or, doing something nice for them, just some kudos, just some recognition. I always say, and many of you have heard this before, when I was in corporate, I got a lot more done with chocolate bars than I did with bonuses. A good Chiquito Mars bar or something else did a lot more for me than what promising somebody a potential bonus in the future to get stuff done. Often people just want the simplest recognition. Some people want nothing. They just want to help. And it's so fascinating. I mean, I can't remember who I told this story to recently, but we were running some focus groups just a couple of weeks ago for Circle of Excellence. And we ran one which was solely American-based. And on the call, we had a friend of mine. He is a friend, but I don't spend a lot of time talking with him or anything like that. He's a co-founder of MTV, right? I mean, that's a pretty successful guy. been in the entertainment industry most of his life. He's in his early 70s now. And we had him on the call. And he still runs a very large company there. And we only made the call an hour. And at the end of the call, he said, guys, that was such a quick hour. Can we do this again? He goes, I'd be happy to do this every week. I just want to help you guys. We're like, co-founder of MTV wants to put aside an hour of a week to help us, you know? So you just don't be surprised about the people that are going to step up that just want to help. Now, again, other people, they want money. And they may not be your best centers of influence, in fact, that want money. But there are some people that want money, and you can organize that through some type of affiliate arrangement. Then there are others that want to barter things. And we found this when we had our travel company, Soul Journeys. And people would say, look, I'd love to introduce you. How many people do I have to bring for me to come for free? I know that we have a friend and colleague that runs the marketing cruise in America. They average 400 to 500 people on the cruise every January. And he has a situation that once you bring 10 people, you come for free. So that's a barter, right? And other people, there may be something in the future that they want, but they're not saying it right now. So they may be just tucking back the fact that they're going to help you because they are looking for some help from you in the future. So remember that as well, because these are the different things that they want. So that's basically what I wanted to share today on centers of influence. I wanted to challenge you guys to create a list on that and start to really work through that list. But I want to open it now, just as for the last couple of minutes of today's call. And maybe I'll start with a question. What did today's call spark in you? So let's go for that. What did today's call spark in you? Let's grab a couple of people. I'm going to grab Angela and Mel. So Mel, I'll go with you first because both of you are coming to Bali, so you'll get to meet there. But Mel, what did today's call spark within you?
So I haven't had a chiquito for a long, long time.
That's a good thing.
So I know that sounds a bit silly, but it caught my eye. I actually have started my list, and I'm excited. I think that it was really useful to hear different ways to nurture those relationships and build that trust and love. So I've taken some notes on that, and I'm not quite ready to jump in there in terms of, I'm still fleshing out what I'm offering, but it's stimulated a whole lot of ideas. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
No, thank you, Mel. That's great. Angela.
So two things from me. Hi to everybody. One is that the way I choose to interact or influence or build that trust is one-to-one. So, for example, I met a young startup Spanish girl that's creating a skincare brand here in New Zealand, and I introduced her to a very leading formulator in the industry that she probably wouldn't have naturally met. And I make it quite intimate, you know, introducing you to you. I'll leave you two to have a chat. It's nothing to do with me. It's nothing to do with me building my business, but it gives the young startup girl sort of a bit of awe of meeting this, you know, relatively famous lady. And the famous lady recognizes that her ingredients are in this girl's products. So it was quite a nice thing. But the other thing is, as Patrick said, we've been thinking about our attendees to our focus group. And when you talk about top 100 span of influence, a name has come to mind that I hadn't even considered for our focus groups, who would be amazing. Difficult, but amazing. So we'll talk about that tomorrow, I'm sure. Thank you.
That's fantastic. I'm sure Patrick will be looking forward to that. Okay, thank you, Angela. I really appreciate it. Anyone else get anything that I see, Joni, your comment there in the chat, Project 100, you love action. That's fantastic. Anybody else get anything that they're going to action because of today? And we have people today from Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, the UK, Scotland, India. They're the ones that I can see. Yep, I think that's it.
I do.
Great, Diane, go for it.
I know that there are people sitting in my phone, and I know I should have looked at them over the last 12 months, but I've been so busy doing other things that I haven't. So I will be going through my phone when I sit at the airport waiting endlessly for the flight to Bali, and I will sit there with my notepad, which I've already got, and I will write down people's names and then make sure that when I come back, I will be ringing people saying, this is what I'm doing now. Hi, how are you? What's life? How's life treating you? And just touching base with people just to see what they're up to, because I think that there's people probably sitting there that I need to reconnect with.
Absolutely. And Diane, you bring up such a good point, and I think it's a great point. I think you've struck this with everybody. You know, if you don't know where to start, pick up your phone. There's probably 1,000 contacts in the average person's phone now. And I mean, there's people you haven't thought about in years probably in there that are just perfect for you to reconnect with, or maybe this is a reason to reconnect with them. So Diane, thank you so much for that. Let's take just one more, and then we'll wrap up at just on about the quarter hour. Anyone else? Is that a hand, Harley? Did I see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, now you.
Hi,
Hey, Mike. Hello, everybody. I think what Di just said is really an opener, and especially for me, I really need to make contact with people. It's been a while since I've done that, and I think it would really help me in the direction that I'm going in to actually just step forward and say, hey, let's talk. And I think that could make a big difference.
Absolutely. And I think between the two of you, you and Sahaji, you'd probably bake a mean cake or a quiche or something like that. So no, she says no. But
That's just
can I join the Christmas cake club, please?
Yeah. Diane, you better bring some Christmas cakes to Bali. I think that it's probably
Too late. I needed to make them 6 weeks ago if I was bringing them to Bali, because they have to sit and I have to pour bottles of rum over them. So too late.
Okay.
But
just bring the bottles of rum then, and all will be forgiven.
But they wouldn't let me bring them in.
No, probably not. Joni says all the small things count, muffins and chocolates. You never think about that. We don't. Like, naturally, and the more busy we are today, the more we just don't think about things that, you know, we used to think about 30 or 40 years ago. And these things go a long way. They really, really super go a long way. Folks, thank you so much for being on the call today. For those of you that are coming to our Bali Business School, I look forward to seeing you this coming weekend. For the rest of you, I will see you the next time on a call, which is in about 3 weeks, I think. So I will talk to you then, if not beforehand. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and go and make your lists of 100 people. Catch you around. Bye.